Hi friends, welcome to Traders Toolkit. In the part 1 section of the CPR related videos, we were talking about the shape of the CPR. And what we observed was if the CPR is a narrow range, it is expected to be a trending day. And if it is a wide CPR, it is expected to be a range bound day. And followed by the part 2 section, we were talking about the Virgin CPR, one of my favorite setup in the CPR strategy, where we talked about how powerful the Virgin CPR will be on the very next day. In today's section, I'm going to talk about the inside value, outside value CPR, also the ascending and descending CPR. If you have not seen the part 1 and part 2 section, please visit and come back here so that it will be better for you to understand. So in this section, the inside and outside value CPR is another way of looking at CPRs on 2 consecutive days. So what I mean here is, in the part 1 and part 2 section, we looked at CPR on that particular day and then we took a call whether the next day will be a trending or a range bound day. Now in the inside value, outside value and the ascending descending CPR, we are going to compare the CPRs on 2 successive days. Say, for example, when I say inside value CPR, what it means is, let's say you have a CPR here and the previous day, and let's say today, if I have a CPR something like this. All right. Now, by this time, you should be knowing that the blue lines is what the CPR range. And let's say I have a CPR like this here, and the today's CPR is within the range of yesterday's CPR. We call this as an inside CPR. At the same time, if today's CPR is kind of engulfing the yesterday's CPR, then that is what we call it as an outside value CPR. So let's say here, this is yesterday's CPR, and today's CPR, if it is engulfing the yesterday's CPR, we call it as an outside value CPR. And if it is within the range of yesterday's CPR, we call it as a inside value CPR. And why do we make this distinction? Is because inside value CPR acts, it's considered as a narrow range CPR in the sense that inside value CPR also has the same characteristics of a narrow range CPR, that is, we can expect a trending day. Also, the outside CPR can also be construed as a wide range CPR. That means we can expect a range bound day. So let me just summarize what I just said, and then we will be looking at some of the examples. So this is what I meant by the inside value CPR. When it is an inside value CPR, this is similar to a narrow CPR and we can expect a trending day. If it is an outside value CPR, this is similar to a wide range CPR and we can expect a range bound day. Again, like what we saw in our first 2 section, this may not work all the time. Okay, any tricks on CPR, or for that matter any indicators, it works only on certain with some good probability. We cannot say that 100% of the time it works, but maybe a little more than 50% of the time it works, and that is why that's the observation, that's the general consensus we have with respect to the CPR tricks. So let's take an example of if we could find, because this inside and outside value CPR, it's quite hard to spot in the sense that you won't get it every day or every week. Maybe it happens a few times in a month, right? So I'm just searching for if I could find some inside value CPR. If you look at here, you have a CPR here, and today's CPR is kind of inside, the sense that it's not exactly inside, but it is kind of, it's in the little kind of engulfed. This CPR is kind of engulfed within this CPR. So, and also this also act as a this is also appear to be a narrow range CPR, and that is why we see a trending day here. So it is like a combination you can use. So if it is a narrow range CPR and also if it is an inside range CPR, then the probability of the day being a trending day is quite high. All right. So let's look at yeah, this is again a good example here. If you look at here, this is today's CPR is kind of engulfing the yesterday's CPR, right? And as expected, it is a range bound day. So here it's like a two combinations you have. One is this, of course, it's a wide range CPR, and we can expect a range bound day. At the same time, this is also a outside value CPR. So this kind of makes it a high probability expectations for us. So it's better, a good trader who has this confirmation that yes, I am seeing today a wide range CPR at the same time. This is also an outside value CPR. He probably won't trade on this particular day because he knows that it is going to be a range bound day. So this is how, I mean, as you can see that it doesn't occur very frequently. All right. This also you can consider as outside CPR, and the range is quite range bound. So again, you see here, this is kind of failed here. As we were talking about the inside value CPR, we were supposed to have a trending day, right? So here you see this is a big CPR, and inside you have the small CPR. So here you have a narrow CPR. At the same time, here you have a inside CPR as well. So this is highly expected to be a trending day, but it is not, right? So that is what I want to highlight in all of my videos, that whatever CPR strategies, tricks, whatever they're talking about in YouTube videos or even the books, it doesn't work all the time. That is what you should understand here. Okay, there is the high probability, but it is not working here, right? It doesn't work all the time. So you can apply this on your instrument and you can see that whether it works for you or not. Sometimes it work, or I would say most of the times it work, but sometimes it won't work. Again, you see here, this is a wide range CPR. At the same time, this is an outside value CPR. So I don't expect a trending day here, but you see here, it had a good trending, right? So that is where a combination of other things will also come into place. Like, you combine your CPR with your moving averages or your VWAP and other indicators, and you will see that whether you can go for a trade today or not. So that is why I'm not cherry picking any examples to show you that inside value CPR will be a trending, or an outside value will be a range bound. No, it doesn't work that way. All right, it doesn't always work. We can expect, that is all we can do, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. All right. So I hope you understood what is an inside value and outside value CPR, and what kind of day we can expect. And like I said repeatedly, that it will work, it is supposed to work, but there are cases where it won't work as well. All right, so it is always best to combine indicators like CPR, moving averages, and VWAP, or whatever indicators you're comfortable with, and then you come to a conclusion on whether you should go for a trade or not. All right. uh, uh, the another one I was talking about is the ascending and descending CPR. That is nothing but, as the name says, if the CPR is kind of in an ascending pattern, like let's say here, this is one, on top of that you have another CPR, on top of that you have another CPR. So this is a kind of an ascending CPR. Like, let's see if I could spot some examples for a descending CPR here. Yeah, you see here, these blue lines, this one CPR, below this CPR, again on below you have this CPR. This is like a descending CPR. So why are we looking at these combinations of CPRs on these days? It's essentially especially for traders who go on for a positional trading, what they do is they will see this CPR and then they will see today's CPR. Okay, it is a descending CPR. So they usually keep their stop loss, above this CPR. so that they will, especially for positional or swing traders. So this is what they look at, the 2 3 CPRs on any days, and then they will see that, okay, whether I can go for some positional trading or not. Of course, there are multiple factors to look at. You will look at multiple time frame analysis, not only the CPR. Okay, so the CPR is just one another indicator to give you one extra confirmation whether you can go for a positional trading or not. So for example, here if you look at it, there are 4 days consecutively you have a descending CPR, right? 1 2 3 and 4. So any trader who want to go for a positional trading, what they will do is they will just keep a stop loss above this CPR. Okay, as long as the candlesticks are below the CPR, it is good for them to go on for a positional trade. Again, stop loss is a big topic. So as per your risk reward, as per your risk capacity is when you keep your stop loss. The example that I showed you here is having a quite a huge stop loss. So do not take it for granted. Just look at your risk capacity and apply your stop loss. So similarly, you can also take these 3 examples where you have an ascending CPR. You see here, this above this and above this. So this is essentially is telling you that the market is in a trending mode. Okay, so this is like a combination of these CPRs on consecutive days you will look at, and then you will take a call whether the market is in a range bound or in a trending, an uptrend or in a downtrend. And for example, here you see here in this entire zone, the market is like up down, the CPR is in this range, so it is a range bound market. So it's good to stay away from this market, right? So similarly, like here is another good example where you have a good trending market, right? The CPR is below. You look at all these candlesticks, none of the CPR should close below the the central pivot. If it closes below the central pivot, then it essentially indicates that the market is likely to reverse. Again, this is don't rely only on CPR to take a call on that. Like I said, you have to use multiple indicators to confirm your conviction. All right, so this is all about the ascending descending CPRs that will help you to understand what kind of a market you are into trading. And based on your risk appetite, see what is the risk you can take for every trade before you execute any trade. All right, guys, that is all I have for today. And thank you for joining, and thank you for subscribing as well. Thank you. Bye.